marketing track today. A few reminders before we get started to check out their side events. They are in the agenda, to check out the Augie Awards on the main live stream on the 29th, starting at 11 p.m. To use hashtag AWE2020 and start conversations about what's going on in the conference. Please note everything here is being recorded. So if you have questions, they will be forever recorded. And sponsor thank you. Thank you to your sponsors, HP, Microsoft, Qualcomm, and Unity Technologies. Those are the titanium sponsors for AWE. So our talk today, I'm really excited. I tend to really love the sports applications of AR and VR. And so this is called Fast Break to the Future with Scott Stanchak. He is VP of Emerging Technology Products at the NBA. So I'm excited to see what Scott has to say.
Thank you so much for the virtual introduction. My name is Scott Stanchak. I am the Vice President of Emerging Technology at the National Basketball Association. My team here is focused on 4 key areas of the NBA's business, which includes our fantasy and gaming products, which are a range of free-to-play experiences for fans, our emerging technology products, which we're going to talk about today, that include AR, MR, VR, voice, and artificial intelligence. And then the third bucket is all our affiliate league digital products, as well as our growth initiatives around SEO, ASO, and ways that we can continue to evolve the products to increase the audience. I also teach e-commerce and digital marketing at New York University, and previous to my time at the NBA, I spent 3.5 years at the New York Times focused on leading their entrance into the mobile subscription space. So today I'm going to talk to you about a range of technologies that the NBA is focused on and has been over the last couple of years. To do that, I'm going to use my family as a component of it, and they're an integral part of the story. My son, he often asks me if I could teach him to drive. Now, my son is only 8 years old. And the funny thing is, as I start to think about it, even into the future, will I even have to teach him to drive, or will a car just drive him? But that becomes a big component of this. And part of my job at the NBA is to think about the future. And I love this image that represents what people thought going to the opera was going to be like in the year 2000. Now, this picture was done in 1900. And what's funny is we're not only not going to the opera in flying cars, but they also didn't have the foresight to think about the clothing that people were wearing and that wouldn't evolve as well. When we're going to start actually with virtual reality, and my daughter Ava uses it to experience things that she otherwise wouldn't be able to. Underwater adventures, roller coasters, which she wouldn't even go on if she could, space odysseys. But really, virtual reality is about immersing yourself in a position and situation that is unlike any other area. Ava also wears the headset and walks into walls, but that's for another story. So the NBA has been focused on virtual reality for a number of years. We were the first live sports event back in 2013 with the Warriors and the Nuggets. The first season of live games in 2016. We've worked with a variety of partners, NextVR, Intel, Oculus. I think the center image and the right image is especially fascinating as we've seen VR evolve into a more communal experience. And truthfully, from a virtual reality perspective, we often talk about the fact that 99.9% of NBA fans will never set foot in an NBA arena, let alone an even smaller portion who will never sit courtside. And virtual reality helps bring fans into those positions that they otherwise wouldn't be able to achieve. But as we think to the future, I think there's two areas of mass consumer adoption, right? Because you're having to go out and buy specific hardware that is not normally in your pocket, like the phone. And that's going to prevent a little bit of a barrier to entry. But I think the gaming space in particular, as well as remote work, as we're seeing with the coronavirus and everybody having to work remotely, thinking about those places as potential opportunities could be a huge area of opportunity. The NBA will continue to explore as well in how to bring fans closer to the action through those courtside experiences. And the one other thing that I often think about VR is it's one of the true technologies where you're taking yourself away from your phone. There's very few moments in your day where you don't have your phone on you. Driving is often one of them, but virtual reality is also a choice to put on a headset where you don't have that comfort of that device in hand, whether it's a first or second screen, which often is an area of conflict for consumers. Regardless, this industry continues to grow dramatically. So the second area I want to get into is augmented reality. Now, my son, 8-year-old, this is him 2 years ago. He can't make a basket on a regulation hoop, but through the use of emerging technology like AR, he is able to do just that. And you can see how excited he was. But when we think about AR, this is typically what people think about it as. And it's the start of AR. This is Snapchat filters. And most people don't even know that this is augmented reality. They just look at it as something cool. But this is where the technology has started, and we'll continue to see it evolve. The NBA has been one of the biggest first movers in this space, and this has been one of the deep areas of interest for myself over the last couple of years. We started out with the NBA AR app that we released, I guess, 3 years ago now. We were the first league to do an AR gaming experience that basically allowed you to put a regulation court and hoop anywhere in the world. You see this on a backdrop of playing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. I've seen people playing in the ocean. And where we came up with this was we started to think about a couple years ago, what is the biggest audience segment that we wanted to reach with this? We were looking for, whether it was entertainment or utility and in arena versus at home. And that entertainment and out of arena experience gave us the biggest and widest audience to reach with this new technology and experiment and learn. And that's why we went with this game. That eventually evolved in the NBA AR app into something we called AR portals, where you were able to basically place this AR door anywhere in your surroundings and walk in and be immersed in an on-court or behind-the-scenes experience. We did everything from being on the court when LeBron James was introduced to, as you see here in the video, the Warriors celebrating the championship that they won that season. And this was content you couldn't find anywhere else, but we made use of it in a way that I thought was really compelling. We also partnered with Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram on creating experiences to leverage their audience, but also we really value those partners and their thought expertise in the space as they continue to evolve. Whether it was putting yourself on the Jumbotron at the Staples Center during the All-Star game or dancing foam fingers that had 3 different emotions on Snapchat, from happy, sad to a little bit nervous. And you see our happy guy there in front of Steph Curry's as he's warming up before the game. But AR is evolving as well. AR is evolving as well, and you see that Magic Leap is one of the most widely known and used examples of mixed reality. Magic Leap has been a great partner of the NBA. We were one of the first sports brand to partner with them on an experience. And if you are one of the people with a mixed reality headset for Magic Leap, you'll be able to watch games on there. You'll be able to see stats and sports scores. You'll be able to see a tabletop experience where LeBron is dunking right on your coffee table. And really, this is where I see the space moving. And this is where I see it becoming a little bit more of a spatial experience that's merging the digital and physical world together to feed visualizations to the eye and add value to your life. Magically think about an empty room and all of a sudden now your TV is sitting there. You can't replace the couch. You still need some place to sit. But this is starting to get to a place where, again, being the digital assets on top of the real world, you don't have to necessarily let go of your phone. And if anything, the phone could start to become a part of this. So this has been one of the true, real innovative partnerships that we've had in recent time. The other thing about augmented reality, and I think why adoption has continued to grow on this, is because the most widespread use is using a product that is already in our pockets today, which is smartphones. Now, the form factor needs to improve to entice those, especially who don't need glasses, as we get closer to a glasses place. I don't wear glasses myself, but what is the value to me to put something on my face on a regular basis? That's something we're going to need to figure out. And it almost goes back to what Google Lens was a number of years ago. Google Lens, in my opinion, was a truly great product, just well ahead of its time. And the next platform that we move to is kind of going to have to max out the capabilities of what came before us. And as you see in this chart from Benedict Evans, the web maxed out to get to smartphones, and then smartphone adoption continue to grow. As we get into that next wave, AR glasses probably, and augmented reality, or whatever form factor that appears in, whether it's contact lenses or some form, could be that next computing platform. The next area that I want to talk about is Alexa. And you see Evan and Ava here talking to Alexa. They use their Alexas every single night. They use it to spell. They use it to solve math problems. Mostly they use it to go to bed and ask Alexa to turn off their lights or to play a specific playlist. My son calls me on it when I'm on my way back from class on Monday nights and I haven't seen him all day. This is the type of technology that's using artificial intelligence to evolve, where you're taking vocal readings, turning them into digital files that can be read and transcribed into something that a computer can process and then ultimately output some type of messaging. And the NBA has used voice in a number of ways. We've been one of the true first movers in the space. On Alexa in particular, we did 30 team skills on there. We did an audio league pass experience that's still there today. We've done all-star voting on both Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa. And we've done NBA.com game recaps. So the use of artificial intelligence in this space has truly been a very important space for us. And we continue to think that this is one of the areas that will continue to evolve. Now, whether voice and augmented reality and all these different technologies we're talking about today come together as one, that's still a little bit to be seen, as is the use cases of what these at-home devices are going to provide. But still being able to actually ask your remote for a TV show, or think about the day where you're in your car and you're listening to a game and you ask, you get out of your car, and when you walk into the house, you ask Alexa to turn on your TV, and it powers on and says, do you want to resume live, or do you want to go to, start from where you left off? I think when all this stuff starts to come together, it's going to be extremely powerful for consumers, which is why this is just the start. But AI is going to continue to get better as things start to evolve, and in two ways. The more data we get and the quality of data that we get is going to make it more powerful. This video I love. I show it to my team often. This is what a Tesla sees, both using data and capturing data. And as this 30-second clip, the algorithm is not just helping inform the car of what to do, but it's also receiving that data to become smarter. And I think that's extremely powerful with this network effect that this is going to have. Every day, these algorithms become much smarter than the day they were the previous day. So how does the NBA use similar principles? Well, this goes back to our commissioner, who is truly one of the most innovative people that I know, and constantly is pushing the team to continue to think about better ways that we can continue to evolve the league and make it even more innovative. And as he said here in March 2019, if you think about how the games are going to look 5 years from now, my belief is that it will be dramatically different. And now, a year in, they've already started to evolve. And here's some experiences that we've been playing around with. In our international market in particular, how do we start to bring community into the experience? Where you think about on digital, you have so many opportunities to make this a much more customized experience tailored towards fans. And on linear, sometimes it becomes a little one-dimensional. And we've seen linear partners especially start to innovate even more around second screen experiences. But what I love about digital is that the realm of possibilities almost become endless. And we've experimented with things like chat. How do you start to build community that way? Or polling elements that that fans can interact with the broadcast stream as the game is going on and see if they know the answer to what school did the Plumlee brothers attend. We've also played around with in International League Pass and this season in Domestic League Pass, adding interactive overlays on top of the game. And so all of a sudden now you don't have to leave the game experience to be able to see who's on the court, what the stats are for the game, what their stats are throughout the season, what game scores are taking place around the league, or watching highlights. And that becomes really impactful. And also partnering with companies like Twitch to do G League games and 2K games on their platform to see what chat and polling and interactivity through free prop betting experiences, such as which team is going to score the most points in this quarter or get the most points during that quarter, all of a sudden adds a level of engagement that keeps fans watching and coming back more often. Also partnering with a company like Second Spectrum to add overlays on top of the game action that in this case, it's showing some fun information like, an on-fire three-pointer. You see a play getting drawn on the court as it's happening for a pick and roll, or the propensity for that player to make a shot from where they are standing on the court and identifying them. And this using AI player tracking becomes extremely important and an extremely valuable method to offer different optionality to fans of how they can consume the game. A couple more just to point out, we're using remote commentators using an AI technology that merges the live feed with the broadcasters from wherever they are in the world using just a camera, a microphone, and a computer, which allows us to, the option of opening up the number of languages that we're using and type of broadcasts to almost as many as we can bring into the product. We've experimented with Spanish and French and German and Punjabi and Portuguese, and these have become regular mainstays in the products themselves. And in addition to that, we're also playing around with our fantasy and free-to-play products that I mentioned the team is working on. We have everything from all-star voting experiences on top of the broadcast, which allowed fans to get extra votes where if they're watching the game, they could vote for their favorite players, or a free-to-play experience where fans could actually vote and redesign this experience in a way that hasn't been done in the last couple of years to make it more user-friendly, user-centric, but also on top of that, help increase the number of votes that we're trying to get for these players. And I think this, the method that we used to redesign this experience this year was extremely powerful because as you see on this background image, we laid it out in a way where fans knew where this person was fitting in from a court position and the number of players already picked, and it just made it a lot more visual and user-friendly. And finally, just going to our free-to-play fantasy products that I had alluded to before, we've done everything from, pick-em type experiences, bracket challenges, over-under type experiences, all free-to-play. And there's prizing sometimes associated with these, and they appear in the US or different regions across the world. But this is another way just to engage fans and get people excited about the games that they're watching. And I think, we've been really focused on the live experience as of late. We just launched in April a live nightly 8 p.m. trivia game that you can play and win prizes. Or during All-Star, we did an ability to rate the different performers from the different contests that we have, whether it was the dunk contest or the rookie game. And this is, as I said before, just a really great way to start to engage fans, not only with the games that they're watching, but events that are taking place, and create a reason for them to continue to watch and watch longer, which becomes extremely important. I think this quote, just to end here, it has become a really important narrative for the team, that this Teddy Roosevelt quote, that the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. There's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deed. And what's important about this quote is innovation takes courage. You're going into a space that will continue to evolve. It will never be complacent. As I tell my students at NYU, the job that you think that you want 6 months from now is likely going to be very different in 6 months if you do achieve that job, and you have to continue to evolve. And innovation means taking risks. It means taking risks on opportunities that may pan out and may not pan out, that may pan out but have a number of users that isn't significant to what you're normally seeing on the app or web. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't worth pursuing. It might mean that it's just about getting learnings early on to figure out how this will evolve into your product experience in the future. What will VR, be 5 years from now, or AR, or voice, or AI? They will continue to get very, very much more powerful. But you have to lay the foundation, and that's the way that I view this. You have to lay the foundation to get those learnings and continue to evolve. So I want to thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate you tuning in to be able to watch what the NBA has been doing. I'm really proud about the work that the company has done since I joined 3 years ago. I think there's so much room for even more innovation, and it all starts with our leadership in Commissioner Silver, and you can bet that everyone across the board will continue to evolve, and the NBA will continue to be at the forefront of innovation as we think about the live game of basketball and trying to meet our fans' expectations. So thank you so much. I'm happy to open it up for questions now.
Hi, Scott. That was a great talk. I see you were wearing the NBA logo on you too. So good. Really fun.
Yeah, I try to represent all our leagues here.
Exactly. You gotta. That talk had so much great information. I happen to be a big fan of emerging technologies and sports, and how they get integrated. And it seems like you're sort of dipping your toe in quite a lot of emerging technologies. Is there a way, or how do you go about sort of prioritizing one over, and obviously a little bias because this is AWE, the sort of the value of augmented virtual, how does that sort of fit with your goals?
Yeah, I think, thank you for having me too. I think it splits two ways, right? You have a large audience that's watching on linear or digital from a telecast perspective. Many of those, as I said in the talk, 99.9%, which will never go to an NBA arena. And then you also have the other side where you have the people that are going to the arena. And you look at the way that technology can enhance these. We see things like virtual reality where you can get a courtside seat, where even of the 0.1% that get to an arena, how many actually get to sit courtside? So virtual reality has allowed fans to do that. I think we're going to see this next wave of how do you enhance this experience for both sets of fans, the one that go to the arena and the one that they're watching the linear or digital broadcast. And that's what a lot of the work is. How do we take that to the next level? How do we start to add value to that experience? So if you're watching on your television, and let's say you do go into an experience where you're wearing glasses or AR and you can see a replay happen on your tabletop in 3D animation, that's a unique experience. Or if you go to the arena and you're wearing glasses, you can have the wayfinding, and then all of a sudden you don't have to check your messages because those are coming up or notifications of, that was Giannis's 40 points, and he's done that 15 times during this season. So we look at it all across the board of just enhancing the fan experience.
That's great. And then what do you think, what differentiates an NBA fan from other fans out there?
Look, I think we have some of the most passionate fans. I think every league has extremely passionate fans and ones who care a lot about not just the teams, but the players themselves. There's not a way to compare our leagues, but what I will say is we know that our leagues are very technologically savvy. We have one of the younger fan bases among all the sports leagues. And so for them, new technology is really important for them. And that's what a lot of this is, right? It's experimentation in areas that are new that not a lot of fans might have access to early on, but might have some later on down the road. And how do we start to get some learnings now? How do we establish a presence there? It's the same thing we did with voice. We're the first mover in a number of ways with the voice technology. And it was at a time where not many people were using them. Now there's a lot of people that are using them, but we have an understanding of what actually makes the most sense from that fan experience because we were able to dabble so early with it.
Yeah, and how are you taking advantage of new technologies now that not every, there's not really live sports now, and what are you doing?
I'm busier than I've ever been, which is fantastic. I can't go into exactly some of the things that we're thinking, but what I will say is that we've put we've been thinking about this for months, even before the game that ultimately helped stop the league, from playing games, and subsequently a lot of other sports from playing that night when it got serious enough. And the health of our players and the health of our fans is at the forefront. And so we know things are not going to be back to normal when we do resume, whenever that is. But we're looking at a number of new technologies and ways that we can enhance our product experience to make fans and that fan experience be as optimal as possible in the scenario that we're dealt.
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks to James and Jeff and Colin who supplied some of those questions in the chat. Amazing talk. Thank you so much. I wish we had even more time. This is great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and stay safe, everyone, and healthy.